Tonight here on the Ed Show, Congressman Elijah Cummings of Maryland and also Congressman Jim McDermott of Washington. Gentlemen, great to have you with us tonight.
Good to be with you.
How do you get mission accomplished on this when you have the stated position of the Speaker of the House to say that it's going to kill jobs and we're not going to do it? Representative Cummings, what's the game plan to make this thing happen?
Well, first of all, I think what happened today is very significant because we need an inside-out game. In other words, we have to have people on the outside of Congress pushing Congress and letting folks know how unfair this wage situation in our country is. I think Jim will agree with me. We've just got to keep trying to push these folks along, but they are pretty stuck, as you well know, Ed, the Republicans. They don't want to do anything that's going to help the worker, going to increase wages. They don't want to do anything like that. And so, again, I don't want people to underestimate what happened today. When people put their bodies on the line, go to jail, and are saying enough is enough, that says a lot not only to the leaders of Congress, but all the members. And hopefully it'll do something in the future. But, you know, I'm not that optimistic about Congress. And one thing we do also have to keep in mind is that these very actions have helped push a lot of state legislatures to do the right thing. Maryland and Washington, I know, have been very significant, made significant changes.
And those states have added jobs. So, Congressman McDermott, you know, the same old playbook is being put out in front of us by the Republicans that it's a job killer when it's proven not to be. Now, the key is your colleagues over in the Senate say that they could bring up the minimum wage for a vote again as early as next week. Do you think that has a shot, and would that change anything in the House, Jim?
Well, you know, Ed, I saw this thing begin in a little town here in Washington State called SeaTac. The city council put on the ballot a $15 minimum wage, and it passed. And suddenly the Seattle City Council, which is about 10 times or 50 times bigger, suddenly put that on their agenda, and now we have a $15 wage coming up, gradually phasing in over the next few years. It's starting from the grassroots. And as the grassroots, as Elijah says, as the grassroots stir it up, the members of Congress coming back, and they're facing an election in less than 60 days, and someplace on the road, somebody's going to say to them, why don't you want to raise the minimum wage? The living wage in Seattle is $16.10 an hour if you're going to have a living wage. We're only up to $15 with our raise, and the Congress is doing nothing. And they are going to feel the heat from the people from the things you're showing on your show today.
Well, do you think, Congressman McDermott, that what unfolded today could be a game changer?
Absolutely. I think if that starts and rolls across the country for the next month, you'll find the Senate wanting to put it out there just so they can say, we tried. And they'll put it out there, and it'll come over to the House. And I wouldn't be surprised if the House passed some miserable little change from 770, which it is now, maybe to 775. I mean, they'll want to say they did something. They're not going to want to run for election at a time when the wage inequality is so obvious that they haven't done anything.
You know, Ed, the sad part
Congressman Cummings,
the sad part, Ed, is that, you know, increasing the minimum wage actually helps everybody. It helps our economy. It helps folk be able to take care of their families. And then those folks who are getting the minimum wage or less than the minimum wage now, they don't have to depend on government so much. And so, you know, it just simply makes sense.
Well,
it's not killing jobs out here.
No, it's not. It's not killing jobs anywhere. That's the amazing thing about this, is that these Republicans cannot come up with any data that shows, well, this is where they raised the minimum wage, and this is what happened to workers in this state, municipality, or in the community. Now, a dozen states and several cities have raised the minimum wage. So you've got that on a local level being proven to be positive. You've got these protests today. But, Congressman Cummings, you got Election Day coming up. How do you turn this energy into change?
Well, we've got to keep the pressure up. We cannot let this be a 1 or 2 day event. I think we're going to have to continue to do this, the protest and letting, again, the Congress see exactly what people are willing to do to have their wages increased. And understand, these people are not looking for filet mignon. They're trying to get maybe some hamburger, or trying to take their kid to the nearest amusement park as opposed to Disney World. They're just trying to survive and get along and hopefully thrive. The middle class is without a doubt shrinking. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And so I think, and by the way, Ed, this is a moral issue, as the Reverend said a little bit earlier. It is without a doubt. I mean, we've got people working harder and working 9 to 5 just to stay alive, and longer.
Don't you gentlemen think, Jim, you first on this, that this is all about the Employee Free Choice Act? I mean, today was not about $15 an hour. Today was about the right to be able to join a union and get a voice in the workplace, to have some representation, which the old model of America is that when you've got a lot of people doing the same job, somebody's got to speak up for these workers. And now they're willing to speak for themselves. But isn't this about the Employee Free Choice Act of some sorts, Jim?
There is absolutely no question, Ed. That's what it's really about. This country has seen organized labor, the organized section, go down dramatically in the years that I've been in politics. In Seattle, it's dropped about almost to a third of what it was when I started in 1977. And you cannot look at this and say that we're going to anywhere unless we start organizing again. Individuals get picked off alone, but you don't get picked off as you're a part of a group. And that's really what organization and unions is all about, is we stick together for the common good. We fight together for everybody's rights. And that's what has to happen. And that's why people are going out on strike. They're just saying, I had enough. I'm getting picked off by myself. I'm going to stay with my brothers.
Congressman Cummings, your thoughts on that as we close?
Yeah, unions, in my committee, Oversight and Government Reform, I'd say 50% of our hearings have some type of tax on unions. There's an effort to destroy unions, and one of the reasons why that is because of what Jim just said. If they can destroy the union, they can destroy the leverage. And so we're going to have to keep